Welcome to the All Around Joe podcast, where we optimize your human performance from my personal experience as an athlete, coach, and all-around self-improvement junkie. On this edition of the All Around Joe podcast, I thought I would do a backyard video podcast version of the All Around Joe fitness show. So if you guys are watching this, which I highly recommend that you do, you can see that I'm sitting out in the backyard in Lake Chelan here, or with Lake Chelan in the backdrop here up in the orchards of the area, which is just amazing. So I thought why not give it a shot doing the podcast outside today rather than indoors or in the van or wherever we usually are. And right now we're quarantined, as everyone else seems to be in the world, or should be. So we're going to talk about my top tips for flourishing during the coronavirus lockdown, because I definitely have some. We're a couple weeks into it now, and man, oh man, we're doing good up here in Lake Chelan. So I hope that you are too. And I'm going to give you some tips for, like I said, how to flourish in this environment. This podcast is brought to you by the Get Better Project, which is my online at-home training program, which seems to be perfectly set up for this time and day and age that we're in. Actually, we've been focusing on online at-home training programs for almost a year and a half now, because Emily and I have been living in our short sprinter van with 2 dumbbells each and a kettlebell and some bands as well. And we've been programming for people that have 0 equipment at all every single day. So we have 5 workouts that release every single day that are designed for at-home and beginner, intermediate, and advanced people with that style of gym that's at home. So if you guys want to get started, we're actually offering a 30 days of free programming right now, because we want to be helpful to this community. Not only that, I feel like this is a great opportunity for people to get into amazing shape right now. People are down and out, but I don't understand why. You don't have a commute. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff. You just got to get your head in the right space. So head over to thegetbetterproject.com/30 days, and you can get started right now. And this isn't just workouts. A lot of times and I see them all the time, they're posting workouts right now. Workouts are great, but this is a program that we're running here. We do workouts that are, one workout is based off the next workout. So it's complete programming from my 20 plus years of experience, with programs that actually work, with programs that I do myself daily, so I'm testing them. You know, I'm not sure that there's a lot of other people that are actually doing that, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. In the Get Better Project, we also do weekly coaching and check-ins where we look at your diet, we make sure your macros are tuned in, we look at your sleep, we look at your stress, we give you ideas for de-stressing, especially at times like today. So it's this complete program, and we have daily challenges to keep your habits being built. So enough said about that, but I'm just super stoked about it. It's growing like crazy right now, and we want to keep on helping people. And that's why we created the Get Better Project, to help more people. I could care less about the money, really. I just want to be able to do stuff that I love and help people to live an awesome life. So head over to thegetbetterproject.com/30 days and get yourself the Get Better Project for free for 30 days right now. But let's get into this coronavirus and how to flourish during the at-home lockdown. First things first, I feel like a lot of people are focusing on buying the wrong foods. This is your opportunity to really lock down how you're eating and know that you're eating quality foods, get good at cooking, all of that stuff. This is a great opportunity. You're being forced into it. It's fan-freaking-tastic. I love it. I think we have so much opportunity to learn right now. So what you should be thinking about is the essentials, right? Food, water, fuel, and how we're going to thrive in this particular environment. And we're going to talk about all those things. The first thing is the top food choices that you should be thinking about during the coronavirus. You're being forced to think about how to survive properly. You're not just walking down the street in the city, gonna say, oh, Chipotle looks good, we're gonna buy that. Nope, we should be going to the grocery store right now. And when I say going to the grocery store, we're gonna talk about this a little bit later, but we should be picking up our food, not going into the grocery store. You need to have fats, you need to have proteins, you need to have carbohydrates, unless you're doing a ketogenic diet, like in our last podcast with Joe Ward, which I highly recommend that everybody listen to. It's allaroundjoe.com/242, and you can go listen to that right now and hear Joe's experience on how he's been doing the ketogenic diet and how he's been thriving and getting super lean and ripped and full of energy when he's doing it. It's good stuff. So proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, unless you're not doing carbohydrates right now. And here's what you should be focusing on buying, or at least what we're focusing on buying. And I consider myself an expert in this food, nutrition type stuff. So first things first is we're focusing on our protein source, which a lot of times people think of protein sources as being hard to maintain because you have to buy them regularly and you have to usually keep them either in the refrigerator or you could freeze them like if you have meat and stuff. And we'll talk about that. But we're buying and focusing on plant-based protein powders. We are. Plant-based protein powders. It's amazing. So the cool thing about that is you can get complete proteins that you can drink, so you can make sure that you have enough protein so you can supplement if you're not getting enough. And the shelf life on these things is much longer than this coronavirus is going to last. So you can buy these protein powders, and a lot of times they have high quality protein and they have fibers in them, right? Which you don't get enough fiber probably anyway. So what we've been doing is we've been buying the protein powders. We've actually been getting them at Walmart. Walmart sells them super cheap. And I'll put the link to the protein powder, the exact one that we buy, in the show notes at allaroundjoe.com/243. That's allaroundjoe.com/243. And you can get these protein powders. We put them a little bit in our coffee. We eat them, have them as post-workout and pre-workout shakes, and just have them throughout the day. I know that a lot of times people don't think that the vegetarian or veggie-based protein powders taste all that good. And to be honest with you, compared to like a whey protein powder, they don't really taste that good. But they don't taste bad either. It's just that they have kind of like a more chalky texture to them, but the flavor is pretty darn good. And you can eliminate that by mixing them up with other things, which we don't really do because, you know, they start to grow on you and you start to like them. And I would say that if you're worried about drinking a protein powder or protein shake and you're like, man, I want it to taste like candy, then you've got the wrong point or wrong focus here. It just tastes like food. It's just like when you eat vegetables. Do you like vegetables? If you're eating to fuel yourself, you probably do. But you know, if you're thinking like it doesn't taste like a candy bar, your mind is in the wrong spot. You need to adjust it because that thought process and that mentality probably has to do with the addiction to the carbohydrate, the sugar. Really, it's not, you don't even realize it, but that's what's going on there. So plant-based protein powders, nuts and nut butters is the number 2 thing. So a high quality nut or nut butter is going to give you a ton of calories. Yep, tons of calories and pretty much unlimited shelf life again. And you should be focusing on getting nuts and nut butters that have 0 sugar or additives in them. Please don't ever buy the Jiffies with all of the added sugar. I don't even know if first of all, a lot of that stuff is peanut butter. And I'm talking less about peanut butter, more about things like almond butter, cashew butter, and just like a variety of nut butters, including if you get your hands on a bunch of Brazil nuts right now, buy those things if you can. Those are going to be really great sources of proteins, fat, and calories in general for you that last a long, long time. So if you need to survive for a long time, and a lot of times people like eating nuts. So there you go. You can get yourself onto a nice nut diet right now, and it's going to be great for you. And buy a lot of this stuff. When you can buy these things like the protein powders and the nuts, you can buy a whole bunch of them because they're not going to go bad on you. And you could even throw them in the freezer if you wanted to, if you're worried about that, but you usually don't have to do that anyway. Next up, frozen vegetables and fruits, okay? The reason that I am pointing out frozen is that fresh would be great, but fresh is probably gonna have you going to the store more often than you should unless you have a garden where things are actually growing right now, which I don't think that most people, at least in the United States, are getting foods from their garden right now. So you're gonna have to either go to the store more often, which I'd highly do not recommend that because then it's going to increase the amount of touches that you have with other people, which is going to increase the amount of or probability of you getting this coronavirus, which is going to increase the probability of you spreading the coronavirus, which is not what we're trying to do right here. We're trying to we're trying to focus on doing the right things, positive things. Sorry if you hear dogs or cars or whatnot driving by. I've got a high quality mic here, or wind, but I'm outside. It's not the perfect studio environment. I apologize for that. But if you're watching this, you might be appreciating the view more than you are worried about the exact awesome audio quality. And I hope that that's the case right now. So focus on vegetables and potentially the frozen ones, because if you can stock up on those, throw them in the freezer. They may not taste nearly as good as the fresh ones, but you know, that's all right. We're in these weird times. Get those frozen ones and make sure that you're buying organic right now. organic in this time is going to be exceptionally important, because if you're not buying organic, whether it be meat or vegetables or fruits or whatever it may be, you're probably going to have a high probability of having some sort of pesticide or something like that that at some point has gone into either something that you're eating yourself or that what you're eating has eaten. And that's going to be really hard on your system, especially right now in times of stress or times when you actually might be having this virus and you need to have your immune system be built up so that you can fight against it. That's when you really want to make sure, and I do it all the time, but you really want to make sure and have things like that are organic, that are not going to be harming your body when you're putting them in there, just for your body to break them down and deal with what's in them. Okay, so highly recommend 100% organic right now. Don't even think about buying non-organic unless that's all you have available to you. And I would emphasize also the vegetables over the fruits, because you're probably not getting a full source or range of the vitamins and minerals that you would need. I'm guessing just most people are not in good shape. But maybe you are. You know, a lot of these people that are listening right now are probably superstars, and that's awesome. But still, just focus on the vegetables. Going to get a lot of vitamins and minerals from those particular vegetables. Even if we're decreasing some of the bioavailability by having them be frozen, that's all right. We're still going to do our best with that. Organic vegetables and then fruits after that. And we can take those fruits and we can put them, make things sweeter and whatnot. And I'm going to talk about more about that in a second, which leads me into oatmeal. Oatmeal is another good thing that we're stocking up on a lot of right now. Buying as much oatmeal pretty much as we can. There's usually limits on how much stuff you can buy at this particular point where we are. So we're buying as much oatmeal as we possibly can. Oatmeal with no sugar added. Never buy that crap with sugar in it. Don't buy anything with added sugar in it unless you have a specific reason for doing so. Like it's going to be in your post-workout or pre-workout protein shake and you have a reason for wanting to spike your blood sugar. So otherwise, stay away from that stuff. It's just toxic for you. Do not eat it. And then this oatmeal, if you want to, you can add things like frozen blueberries, frozen berries, frozen raspberries, frozen strawberries that you bought that were organic, that you've had in the freezer, that make it taste really good. And oatmeal is a fantastic source of low glycemic carbohydrate, which is going to make you feel satisfied and have a lot of energy, which is going to be a positive thing that you need to focus on right now. Unless you're doing the ketogenic diet, then you probably want to stay away from the oatmeal and the fruit. And that's a whole other story. And you should be listening to Joe Ward's podcast that I did with him last Thursday, or posted it last Thursday. Meat. So I'm not sure if you guys know this, but we are about 95% meat free right now, which means that we are pescatarian-ish. So I guess it depends on how you classify it, but we're eating wild caught fish, mostly salmon, and eggs. Otherwise, pretty much no animal products at all, with the exception of here or there. We're not like super anal about it, so if our friends go out to eat at a steakhouse, we're not gonna avoid the steak, but that might only be happening like once a month. So the majority of the time we're focusing on these meatless products, and we're buying up those as much as we possibly can. Like some of the Beyond Meats, we're mostly liking the corn, Q-U-O-R-N products right now because they're higher in protein and lower in fat. A lot of the other meat substitute products have too much fat and carbohydrates and not enough of what you're actually needing, which is the protein that you're substituting that product for. So that's something to consider. But if you are eating meat, which I don't think that you shouldn't be, or if, like in our case, fish, like buying that stuff up, freezing it, and if you can, buy these things either from local farms that are having, if we're talking beef or chicken or whatnot, pasture raised, grass-fed, grass-finished meat or animal products. So you don't want any of that grain stuff. Stay away from it. Don't buy it. And make sure that if you can, you're buying from the local farmers, so you're going to help out that particular business, or the local butchers, and then last, the grocery stores, okay? And if you're buying from the grocery stores, you're going to be looking for, like I said, the more expensive free-range products. But if you can support the local people right now, the local businesses, that's where you really want to be at. And even if you have to go and a lot of times you can probably call these butchers and see what they have, or call these farms and see what they have, and they would probably even deliver it to you, and you'd have zero contact with those particular people. And that's what I would highly recommend doing. And then putting that stuff in the freezer. So if you can buy a half cow right now that is grass-fed, grass-finished, buy that stuff, as long as they're not super overstock, jacking up the price, which, come on guys, let's not do that. Let's try and come out of this thing on top. and then put those things in the freezer or sell it to your friends. There should be people that are going to be able to buy that right now that are still doing well. I mean, like right now, we've been working from home and from the van for the last 2 years, so this is normal process. If anything, our businesses are improving right now. So there are people out there that have that happen. And like I mentioned earlier, you're gonna really wanna focus on staying away from crappy foods. You're gonna be eating organic. You wanna stay away from processed things as much as you possibly can, because it's gonna be hard on your body. Like, you may think, oh, that tastes good, it makes me feel satisfied, but it's really hard in your body, and that's in your brain being influenced by these things that are not necessarily good. You know, people spend millions and billions of dollars making foods that feel good to you, and that's what they're trying to do, and that's what things like sugar and whatnot do. So now is the time that you really want to stay away from those things, so that you have your body being primed in shape to combat the stressors that we have on us. I mean, just the stress that a lot of people are having right now is making them get sick, even though they're not getting this coronavirus thing. It's just the stress, because they're having the extra stress. And we're gonna talk about how to combat the stress as well here in a second. But you wanna stay away from the processed foods. You wanna eat organic as much as possible, and avoid alcohol, for God's sakes, guys. Alcohol is just poison for you. You're literally poisoning yourself if you're drinking alcohol right now. And I don't care if you think of it as a de-stressor. I've got better ways to de-stress right now. Number one, exercise. Freaking get 30 days free of the Get Better Project. That is a way better de-stressor for you than alcohol is. And if you think that alcohol is a better de-stressor, you are brainwashed as can be, my friend. All right, so we already talked about organic. I don't need to harp on organic anymore. Only doing pickup shopping is something that you need to do. It's a crazy right here. I'm even in this small town right now. When we go to pick up our food at the grocery store, because we're ordering online on the apps, the grocery store parking lots are packed. What is wrong with you people? Like, holy smokes, we're the only person in the line picking up our products from the pickup. We have contact with one particular person, and then we're in and out. Like, literally for the last week, we've had contact with that one particular person that brought our groceries out. And there's people, hundreds of people, thousands of people that are walking into these grocery stores and putting everybody's life in harm's way. It's ridiculous. Stop doing that. Use this online ordering systems and whatnot. And I want to mention that I know that some places may not be able to do this, right? You do not have the ability, or they do not have the infrastructure in order to have the online ordering systems. Like, for example, right now we've been ordering our food only from Walmart, because they have a Walmart in this area and they have a great online ordering system. But the Safeway in the area and the Red Apple in the area, which we would rather buy from, they don't have these systems set up. And for whatever reason, I'm not sure about the Red Apple, but the Safeway absolutely has a system set up. They just haven't turned it on or implemented it in this particular store, which is their bad, and I don't know what's going on with that. But anyway, so we can still find all the stuff that we want at Walmart, all organic, all of that stuff. It's all good. It's been actually a very good experience. And even though we'd rather support the local companies like the Red Apple that are here, we aren't able to do it because they weren't ready and set up for having infrastructure for something like this. We'd be buying the ceviche from the local Red Apple, which is the best ceviche I've ever had, all freaking day long. Another side note, if anybody is working for Trader Joe's, man, Trader Joe's, I'm really sad right now that you don't have any kind of online presence set up to be able to handle something like this. Imagine how much more beneficial you could have been. I know that you want to be. I know that I've read that your practices are around being helpful and wanting to help the community. But right now, when you're in a position like this, when you can't get did I say Trader Joe's or Whole Foods? I forget. Whole Foods is doing a great job. I meant to say Trader Joe's if I didn't say that before. Trader Joe's should be set up to have an online presence and online ordering system, even if it's just a backup for times like this. So I hope that they're working on that. Water. So there's early on there was a bunch of people buying bottled water, and that was something that people were like rushing to do. Toilet paper and bottled water, it's like, and hand sanitizers. Like, what are you guys thinking? But anyway, the virus is not in the water system, but it is important for you to have a lot of water and to focus on your health so that your body is flushing out things that it should be. And every cell and every part of your body uses water so much. So don't you think that you should be focusing on how much water you're drinking? You should be, and you should be having about 0.5 ounces per pound of body weight, or more than that if you're exercising a lot. Like, I go for 0.75 per pound of body weight every single day for me, because I'm exercising a lot, and that's where I feel great about the amount of water that I'm drinking. This is only water products. It doesn't include anything that has sugar in it or anything that has caffeine in it or anything that has alcohol in it. Only things that are water. And you could be like, I do include the water that I put in my protein shake and water that I mix into other things, but it can't be caffeinated, it can't have alcohol in it. Those are diuretics. They're actually not gonna help hydrate you when you have that. I guess we could talk about ratios, but whatever. So make sure that you're keeping yourself very hydrated right now. It's gonna be important for your health, and don't worry about buying bottled water unless you don't have a clean water source. Just drink whatever water you would usually drink. If you want to have a filter on your water system, then do that, but I don't really understand the whole bottled water thing unless you know that you have tainted water. Let's talk about stress, guys, because I mentioned it earlier, and there's been a lot of people that have been telling me that they're super stressed out right now. And I can understand it, but I can't relate to it necessarily. Like for me, I have zero amount of more stress. It's like I just make a decision that is different than what it may have been if we don't have to avoid other people right now to avoid getting this coronavirus. So that's just a very cut and dry way of thinking about it, and that's how my brain works. But I understand that there are people that are like worrying for mankind, worrying for themselves, worrying for whatever, because they have practiced that, and that's where their mind goes. So I'm going to help you to practice here and give you some tips for how you can immediately get out of stress right now if you practice these things. But here's what it's going to require. It's going to require you to do something different than what you've done before. Not like harmful or not weird or not anything strange, but it's going to be different. So you have to do it. But here we go. The first thing that I've been doing every single day, even though I don't have stress, because I want to build up my immune system, I want to talk about why this is awesome, is practicing Wim Hof breathing. So Wim Hof, also known as the Iceman, has this incredible program, and he's actually been doing free breathing sessions, I believe every day or every once in a while, where he's going on, he's taking you through his breathing system in order for you to, number one, decrease stress, which it does almost immediately. And number two, it increases your immune system and helps your cardiovascular system. So you get, I believe it's more white blood cells that get built up in your system. And then you also have the benefit of when you're doing this, there's a hyperventilating / breath holding system that is, I'll explain to you in a second, that makes you actually be able to perform better in cardiovascular type of exercises. And I've done this for years. It's fantastic. So the way that it works and what I've been practicing lately, if you don't want to go and look up Wim Hof and try and get onto some of his free breathing sessions he's doing right now, is you just start with 3 rounds, okay? And this is what I've been doing every morning. You start with 3 rounds, and I get my phone out with the timer app on it, the stopwatch app. You do 30 very deep breaths. So you do 30 breaths, or like this. As deep as you can get them, 30 times, okay? Getting too much oxygen in your system is never bad. Hyperventilating is not bad. It will make you feel lightheaded. It's not bad. That's a huge myth. So you actually want that. It's positive for you to get oxygen. You can't get too much oxygen. Well, I mean, you could over-oxygenate yourself. You can't over-breathe, okay? So then you're going to do that 30 times. Then you exhale on the 30th breath, you go, and you hold your breath on the exhale for as long as you can. When you start holding your breath, hit the stopwatch timer and just see how long you can last. I don't want you to get super uncomfortable or anything like that, but you just see how long you can last, because if you do this day over day, you'll notice that your breath hold time ends up getting longer and longer, to the point where I think that my max when I'm doing this regularly is like around 3 or 4 minutes. It's something crazy long. And that is something that's happening in your body right there, that's happening with the breath hold time. Makes your body utilize the oxygen more efficiently, makes it better for you or easier for you to do workouts and whatnot, and you will actually see a major difference. So what you would do is you do 30 breaths, you exhale, you hold as long as you can, and then as soon as you can't hold your breath anymore, you take one big breath in and you hold your breath with air in your lungs for 15 seconds. Once you're done with that 15 seconds, that's 1 round. You do 3 rounds of that. So 30 inhales or 30 deep breaths, hold your breath on the exhale, 1 deep breath. 30 inhales, hold your breath on the exhale, 1 deep breath, hold for 15 seconds. 30 inhales, hold your breath on the exhale, 1 deep breath, hold for 15 seconds. There you have it. And there you do. If you're feeling super stressed, you can do that multiple times in a day if you wanted to. I usually just get up and do it first thing in the morning as I'm staring out at the lake. It's fantastic. Highly recommend it. Then the next thing that I've pulled out of my closet, which I haven't been using for a long time, is something called Holosync, Holosync. I used to do this a lot. And it is a way of tapping into high-level meditation just like that. It is so cool. I highly recommend that you look at it. If you just search for Holosync, that's what I'm going to say about that. Or you go to this podcast show notes, allaroundjoe.com/243. That's allaroundjoe.com/243. I have a link to it in the show notes. But if you search for Holosync, they have a free download that you can go and you can try it out and you can see what it is. It's essentially binaural beats. So you have to have your headphones in and it plays noise that you can't actually hear. Although in your headphones you hear rain and such, and they have, different things that you can listen to, but it plays a frequency that allows your body to get the brain waves that you need in order to be in this deep meditative state. And it's fan-freaking-tastic. It's really good. You can do it in the morning, you can do it after, you can do it anytime. I used to really do it and highly recommend it for right before bed. And I would do that and I would sleep so hard, fall asleep. Excellent. It was just so good. And it builds you up. So there's different stages of this. So it's not only like you just get this one thing and then there it is, you're done with it. It actually builds you up over time, and your brain has been shown to change as if you were doing deep meditation. Incredible for just all kinds of brain-related mental awareness, stress relief, happiness, all of this stuff. So good. So check out Holosync. It's something that I'm going to be doing right now regularly. And I have found that for myself, although it's probably best to keep with it on a regular basis, it's one of those things where I'll get on it when I am in times like these, and I'll practice it for a few months, and then I might let it go for a few months and then practice it again. But it's definitely worth it. I highly recommend it. I have the paid version, and I recommend the paid version. I'm not even sure how much it costs now. I've had it for so long, but I recommend that definitely. And you can try it out. Like I said, go try out the free version and see if you can tell a difference. Sleep. Sleep is going to be immensely important right now. And I actually have a podcast I'm recording tomorrow with Rowan Minion of Blonix, who is what I would consider a sleep expert. And we're going to be talking all about sleep and how it is so important right now with extra stress in your life and when you want to fight off certain things like disease and colds and sicknesses and whatnot. So sleep is going to be so important right now. Make sure that since you're at home, you may as well doing extra sleeping for a longer period of time, taking naps. Anything that you can do to improve your sleep is going to be beneficial. And if you're having trouble sleeping, then I highly recommend doing stuff like taking extra magnesium. You can get that through a lot of things like vegetables and whatnot. So eat a whole bunch of vegetables. And then the Holosync will help you with sleep as well. So all of these things, and exercise will help you with sleep. Oh my gosh, it's all this stuff. But you have to make sure that you're doing it and hold yourself accountable to it. One thing that I've done recently that has been incredibly beneficial is we haven't been setting an alarm to get up, because it doesn't really matter. We have more time in our day. We're not driving anywhere. We don't have any commute. All we're doing is essentially getting up, working out, sleeping, repeating, practicing all of this stuff, eating, drinking water. So it's a really simple time right now. So get rid of that alarm, sleep, let your body rejuvenate itself for the full amount of time that it wants to, that it needs to, and use this time that you have. It's a blessing, really, for a lot of us. And last but not least, the exercise. I talked about this a lot in the first part of the podcast. Exercising is going to be incredible for stress relief. It's going to be an incredible time for you to actually increase your fitness levels. You can do that right now. It is so possible. I am at a pinnacle right now of fitness by running, by doing dumbbell and bodyweight workouts. And you can have these workouts for free right now for 30 days by joining our program at thegetbetterproject.com/30days. And we'd love to have you. I'd love to work with you. You'd get to work with me personally. You get to ask me questions, whatever it may be. You can plug in right now. We have all kinds of people in there, from people that are 60 plus years old that are doing these bodyweight workouts, people that have never really worked out that much in their life, all the way to people that we've got a couple of people that are in way different countries in the world that are doing these workouts with a couple of dumbbells in their apartments right now. It's funny because we have people log their workouts in an app, and there was 2 people today that pissed off their lower neighbors in their apartments because the workout that I programmed today had burpees in it, so they were making some noise on the ground. And it's like, man, we need to tell those people that are down below to get on the program as well, because if they're complaining about someone spending 10 minutes making a little extra noise above them, then their focus is in the wrong spot and they should be spending that time working out themselves. But if I have to tell you, listen to this podcast, that, you know, exercise is going to be beneficial for you, you know, obviously it is. And we're here to help you. We have the Get Better Project, and you should get involved with that if you need workout help in a complete way, not just throwing workouts at you, but thoughtful, progressive workouts in, you know, for people that have zero equipment and zero experience, all the way up to people who have a full, awesome home gym and lots of experience. So 5 workouts are released per day. We analyze your nutrition, macronutrients, sleep, stress, all of that stuff. We're here to help you. So if that sounds awesome to you, then head over to thegetbetterproject.com/30days and we can get you started right now. All you have to do is put your name and email in, and then make sure, if you do that, we send you 2 emails. The first one is to confirm your email address, and the second one is a welcome email, how you get into all of our private Facebook group, into our app, all of that stuff. If you don't see either of those emails, you need to search or look in your junk mail for joe@thegetbetterproject.com. That's where it's coming from. And if you still don't see it, which has happened maybe once or twice out of hundreds of people, but it can happen where Gmail completely blocks it for whatever reason or heads into like no man's land, then you just send an email to me, regular email to joe@thegetbetterproject.com, and I will ask you to go through a couple of steps to add that to your contacts, and then I'll resend those emails. So just know that that's how the sequence works, and we're here to help. So if you guys have any questions or need anything at all on this fitness or health or nutrition related topic that I'm an expert at, I would be happy to help you out. You just reach out to me and I'm here for you at any time. All right, guys, that's what we have for you today. We're gonna wrap this guy up. Hope you enjoyed the view. I enjoyed the view. It's an amazing view. All right, the All Around Joe podcast, where we optimize your human performance from my personal experience as an athlete, coach, and all-around self-improvement junkie. I will see you on the next podcast.